but we did want to jump into E3 and kind of just give a brief synopsis on kind of what went down with Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, their big conferences, and also the big game manufacturers. You had EA, Ubisoft, 2K Games, Square Enix. They all had their own little things, but we'll start it off with Microsoft's press conference. Now, Microsoft, they pretty much did a reverse from last year. Now, everybody expected last year with the new hardware coming out really soon. That's what Microsoft and Sony focused on. Same with Nintendo, because they had just released the Wii U too. And so you didn't really see the games. And that's one of the big problems when system launches, is that you don't have the games. So people waiting for those games, they're coming. They're coming. So E3 for Microsoft was really showing you all the games coming out. Hey, we got 13 new titles, I believe, coming out before the end of this year. They have another 13 or 15 that they kind of showed little glimpses of. They kind of talked about how they're making it easier for indie developers to get onto their platform. So it's going to be pretty cool to see just where all that stuff heads out. And you know, I mean, it's going to be a good departure from what Microsoft did last year, which was pretty much say, screw all of our fans.
Yeah,
they had all that
good to the indie developers either. So
yeah, so that was what happened with Microsoft. Sony had an interesting press conference. They pretty much did the same thing, though. It was a lot about the games. Now, they did talk a little bit about their VR project. Not very much, just tiny bits.
They also talked about Sony or PlayStation TV.
Sony TV, I believe it's called, or might be PlayStation TV, which I thought was really cool. I don't know how much those little boxes are going to cost. I think it's around $99, so I don't know if it's worth it, but it's a cool little device that pretty much lets you plug your PlayStation 4 into any TV in the house, and then you put a little box into another TV, and you could just play stuff right there. You can pause a game on your TV downstairs, walk upstairs, and continue playing it. So that looked pretty cool.
I don't know if this was accurate or not, but I thought I also heard that you could play your PS Vita games on it.
I believe so too. I believe that works with it as well. So that'll be a cool way to get your games from the small screen onto the big screen, which PS Vita really does have some pretty cool actual like titles, like story titles. Like there's a really cool Uncharted game on that and everything. So I'm sure people would love to port that up to the big screen.
Like it, so.
Yeah, so why don't you tell us a little bit about what happened with the Nintendo side of things?
Because, of course, I am the one that watches that. No, actually, Nintendo was a little bit interesting and different in that they didn't really have a presentation at E3. They streamed it for E3. They already had a pre-prepared or seemingly pre-prepared presentation that they just streamed out. But it was shorter than the others, but it was packed with a lot of content. Like, honestly, everyone knows, the Wii U's been struggling. They had a good boost with Mario Kart 8, but they've been really needing to get those killer games out, that content to show off. This is why you still want a Wii U. And they came hard. They came hard with things like Hyrule Warriors, which we already knew about, but they showed more gameplay for. They talked to the developers, said that, hey, we were allowed to do whatever we wanted to do, taking a new direction, showed gameplay footage, which looks awesome. Said, hey, it's going to be out in September now. Great. They said, hey, you know what that big game everyone's been waiting for, Smash Brothers, that you thought you already had all this info about? Guess what? We got more.
Yeah, but that's kind of a cop-out, though. Come on. It's like, here, we're going to release one character every time we have a press event.
Yeah, they released like 5.
3 of them were the same character. They were just created class.
Yeah, that's fine, but that's also adding a created class, though, is a big deal. Change up. But then they added another one. They added Pac-Man. They didn't say it at E3, though. Or not at that conference.
They said it like right after E3. My big thing was that they announced a new Star Fox, even though they showed the guy playing it with
the presentation either, though. Like, that was one of the weird things. They like cut a whole bunch of stuff out of the presentation, but
they pretty much showed him playing it. One of the videos they showed him playing it, but it was all blurred out of the screen, and that kind of annoyed me. But so you had more game focus from the big 3 platforms, and so let's run down a couple of those games that I really thought stood out. Let's start it off with Dragon Age Inquisition. Now, I was really excited to see this because huge Dragon Age Origins fans, which is the first Dragon Age game, really was disappointed with Dragon Age 2, and it looks like they're going back more to the roots with Dragon Age Inquisition, so that should be pretty cool. And that's by BioWare. They're probably the best American RPG company out there right now.
Now, you've been talking about Dragon Age Inquisition for a while, though, and it still looks like it's going to hold up?
It still... It confirmed everything that I wanted to see, that it's going back more to its roots. It's more the customization of weapons and finding loot, and you have more of the party dynamic that you had from the first one, and it just seems like it's going to be a lot better, because the first one was really good at just saying, here, just go whichever way you want to go. There's the basic template for how the story is going to progress, but you can get there in any order you want to. The second one said, we're going to hold your hand and drag you everywhere we want you to. And I didn't like that so much. So hopefully the third one's more of a, here, be free. Love life. So that was going to be cool. Arkham Knight, oh my god, is going to be amazing. They showed off a lot of gameplay about this with this game, and in particular, they showed the Batmobile, which is going to be like a morphine spider tank car with bazookas, machine guns, and you can like eject out of it and then fly around and then call it back and like land right into it. So it's just going to be absolutely insane. I can't wait for Arkham Knight to come out, because if you didn't know, I'm a huge fan of those Arkham Batman game series. Best superhero games ever made. I don't really think that's that much to say, because I'm trying to think of other good superhero games made, and the only other one that comes to mind is like Infamous.
Yeah, Infamous, I was going to say, and that's not based off of anything other than superhero for that game.
Yeah.
But Infamous is a really good series too. But yeah,
So,
that's probably the only competition right now.
Yeah.
I can think of.
Then we saw Evolve. That's going to be another multi-platform game, and that was really cool. Ryan Celsius was on the show a couple weeks ago talking about how he was excited to see that. So they showed a lot more of the gameplay, which is you have one person who's a giant monster, and you have 4 people that are 4 different classes that have to battle it. So they showed off a little more of the classes, the weapons. They showed some more gameplay, and it looks pretty awesome. Because who doesn't want to be a giant monster just ravaging a city?
I don't know. I mean, the old Rampage games were pretty popular too, so I guess it's a thing.
Because we all liked, I mean, especially in Rampage, I used to like climbing up the building, busting out a window, and like eating a person. I don't know. There was just
health or whatever you got for eating people.
there was just something so satisfying about ripping people out of their bathrooms and eating them. I don't know why. It's a weird thing I have. But so another game that was not revealed, everybody knew it was coming, but more gameplay was shown, is Destiny, and it pretty much that was a big one, and it pretty much looks like another Halo. That
is supposed to be.
Yeah, which I'm not complaining. Oh, no complaints here. They made Halo. Halo is a masterpiece. Bungie, this is their first jump into something. Well, not their first jump into something. Their next jump into something that's not Halo. So it'll be pretty cool to see them do another shooter. And to be honest with you, I think Bungie does it better than anybody. Now, I didn't really play Halo 4, but a lot of the other games after Halo 3 came out were pretty weak, and that's because Bungie was pulling back their involvement on a lot of those games because they were getting ready for Destiny. So that looks pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think it's great that Sony was smart, lead in with their conference, emphasize Destiny, make the Destiny bundle, because they know really a lot of the strength, a lot of the thing that really helped Xbox get a foothold, especially the 360, was Halo.
Yeah,
honestly,
I mean,
nothing else has that level or something to really compete with Halo in the unrealistic shooter FPS yet.
And if you look at like flagship characters for different game systems, Mario built Nintendo, and Master Chief has built Microsoft Xbox. So they're looking to maybe not have another. I don't think PlayStation really has that defining character, but at least they're showing that, hey, Xbox doesn't have an exclusive on this anymore. You can get a PS4, so that's a pretty cool thing. A game I saw that I wasn't really expecting, but I'm really happy to see. It kind of took a little bit of a different angle at what I was than what I was expecting, but it was Rainbow Six Siege. It looks like a 5-on-5 kind of multiplayer. You have kind of good guys versus bad guys, similar to what Battlefield Hardline was, but more in the tactical shooter genre that Rainbow Six is in. So I'm always looking forward to that. They showed off Assassin's Creed Unity, but I mean, they have one of those games every year. I mean, it gets kind of dull.
That one I heard too had some controversy attached to it. Did you hear about that?
Nah.
How there's Ubisoft's statement about why there's going to be no female characters in Unity is they're like, we don't have the time to make female characters.
It's like the easiest thing to do. You just put boobs on them, and that's it. You're good to go. It's a female character. I mean, it's not hard to render one.
It does take some extra time, but how many characters were you making that were male? Like, so there's big controversy of again, game industry ignoring the women in there, not finding it worth it or whatever. But in this situation too, like, I know people like men that prefer to play as female characters just because they're nicer to look at when you have to, play for hours.
Yeah, well, I mean, I get that too, but I mean, honestly, having a strong female character,
I wouldn't think so.
But having a strong female character definitely adds depth to any video game experience because there's plenty of strong females out in the world. I mean, it's almost unrealistic not to have a strong female character in the game, and it seems like it's all these Assassin's Creed games nowadays. You're pretty much recruiting assassins. Why can't you have a couple female assassins? I think that's stupid to leave that out. But that's Ubisoft for you. Another game that didn't look that cool at all was Farm Simulator 15. Like, really? Like, they had a big booth and everything. Like, what, really? Farm Simulator?
Farmville, remember, that was so popular for a while, right?
Yeah,
for some reason,
not so much.
People like growing stuff on farms.
Yeah, okay, I guess. But so those are the two games that sucked. But another game that looked really awesome was The Division, and that's a Tom Clancy game. That's really the last Tom Clancy thing that you're going to see with that stamp of Tom Clancy on it. Well, you'll probably still see it, but I think that's the last video game that he actually had input on the story, and that looks really, really awesome. Zelda, the new Zelda game, they had a really awesome trailer. They didn't really show enough gameplay. I would have liked to see more gameplay, but they did say it was going to be an open world Zelda, so that's pretty revolutionary in the Zelda world.
What they did show too, they revealed afterwards, was in-engine. What that gameplay that they did show, that everyone thought, oh, well, we get some of the cutscenes, but I wonder what the engine's going to look like. Apparently it was all done in-engine, so that's going to be pretty cool. Because it looks beautiful. Looks like it's going to have some really cool stuff going on. They showed the weird arrow. They talked about it being open world. They had a lot of depth to the screenshots that they showed. And it looks like they said they're trying to break conventions with it. We don't know how far that's going to go. They mentioned that the trailer may or may not be Link in that trailer.
Yeah, which is stupid. I mean, come on, just say it's Link. Come on, we all want Link. That's what we want. But
yeah, and then what I'm wondering is if they branch out and do a storyline where you can play as multiple characters at different points in the storyline. Like you've seen in other RPGs plenty of times that you play as this character for a little while, then you can play as that character, or you can choose which character's storyline to follow or something like that. Maybe they'll do that. Maybe you'll play as multiple different characters in the Zelda world, so might be cool.
Yeah, you just got to be careful branching out too far from your roots because people get pissed off when you do that. But it's nice to try something new as well. It's nice to try something new as well. But one thing that really disappointed me, or two things that disappointed me, is no Final Fantasy 15 news because that game's only been in the works for about 5 years.
Yeah, they showed off the huge thing of it last year, and then nothing. Yeah. Wasn't 15 originally going to be like
13 verses?
Yeah, exactly, or 13 verses 2, whatever it was going to be. So it's been in the works for a while. They've shown it a billion times. It's just a adjustment of a game that was a rehash of a game that they already made. So that kind of is annoying. And I got kind of upset with DICE for not really showing me any Battlefront.
They showed you some shots of the in-game in-game engine footage. Yeah, that's how you say it. In-game engine footage, which looked spectacular. That Frostbite 3 engine looks like it is going to be revolutionary, but we really haven't seen much from the Unreal 4 engine, and Square has their own engine that they're working on, so should be pretty cool. But yeah, I want more Battlefront! Now! Give it to me now!
Most awkward moments of E3 that I saw when they showed Disney's Infinity with Marvel in it. It's like everyone in the room just sat silently and just waited for that segment to be over.
They're like, get it over with. We don't want to care. We don't care.
No one at the press conference was there to for Disney Infinity. that was not the big appeal. So
yeah, so that's our thoughts on the E3 show. If you have anything that you were really excited about seeing or that really surprised you out of left field, let us know. Comments down below at Words For My Face on Twitter, wordsformyface.com, of course, wordsformyface at gmail.com, and Google+. Hit us up, any of those places.